what are some of the most interesting video game rumors and myths that we remember as kids, as adults, or anywhere in between, such as teenagers? That's what we're going to talk about on this episode of the Crubcast, a podcast that features exclusively grown white men. I'm Kevin, also known as the Golden Bolt. I'm here with my fellow co-Crubbers, that Trav guy. Hi, Trav.
Hi.
I'm here with resident VTuber, which I guess you can't prove that he's white, Brody. Hi, Brody.
Well, I would hope that I would feel like I'm not like misdirecting people with the color of this character here.
I'm here with famous Twitch streamer JTart9. Hi, Justin.
How's it going, everybody?
And we're here with everybody's favorite non-Kingdom Hearts player, Wolf Chaoson. Hi, Sean.
I will never beat the allegations.
You will not until you play Kingdom Hearts in full.
I have.
I'm excited for the episode
times.
where we make you explain Kingdom Hearts' plot, and it's just all wrong. That's what I'm really excited for.
It's not going to be wrong. People are going to gaslight me the entire time. I'm going to lose my mind.
Go with the bit, dude.
So
that is the bit.
So here today, we're going to talk about favorite video game myths and rumors that we all love, from stuff like Mew Under the Truck, which may very well be part of the thumbnail, most likely, or not. Let us know if you watch on YouTube. To stuff like the Yetis in GTA San Andreas, the Sasquatches, that kind of stuff. Justin, you have a whole list that you're going to be able to reference throughout this podcast. So name the one that you think is least likely to get... Yeah.
That was a sentence.
Least likely to get what?
Yeah. I think the one on my list that is the least likely to be mentioned is my favorite one. It's the Madden curse.
Oh, that's a good.
I know that one. I did not think of that
actually.
one.
I didn't. Yeah,
right. It's a really, really good one.
I'll play I'll play the uninitiated here. What is that, Justin?
So the Madden curse is something that has been a rumor / legend / thing that trickles into real life for as long as I can remember. And basically the rule is, if you are the cover star of the EA game Madden, so if you are the player on the cover of that year's Madden, you are either going to have a terrible injury that will not allow you to play for the entire football season, or you will just have a terrible season in terms of your performance.
Yes. There's been
usually,
oh, go ahead.
They usually always get someone on the cover of the game that's really, really good, or was really, really good the year prior, and then the next year they just absolutely just crap the bed.
A lot of the time it was skill position players, so stuff like a running back or a wide receiver that are more likely to be injured a lot of the time. A lot of the times it was also quarterbacks who would just underperform a little bit, because usually if you're doing suddenly good enough to perform at a Madden MVP style level, it's hard to be successful multiple years in a row in the NFL, even though Tom Brady has ruined that statement for most people. So that's changed in recent years, though, I believe, because they had Mahomes and Brady on a few times, and obviously they just keep playing to the same degree. But for a long time, it was
safety on the cover.
I think there hasn't been.
There has been a safety. Yes, it was Troy Polamalu and Larry Fitzgerald.
They had a double
together.
cover. Okay.
Yeah, that was Madden 25, I believe, which was just Madden 10.
No, that was Adrian Peterson.
There's 25
No,
of them?
you're right. No, that was...
It'd be the year before, I think.
It was a Super Bowl where Fitzgerald and...
Surely football can't be that famous.
God.
But
yeah, I remember...
Compared to the Crubcast, no one watches football. Let's be real.
It's true.
I'm the only one who watches football.
Data shows 1 in 4 Gen Zers watch the Crubcast over football.
That's true. We are Gen Z's #1 podcast. How do you do, fellow kids?
Howdy do.
Howdy do.
I'm gonna riz Justin up right now.
We got
Scott,
Norway. Now we're moving to Gen Z.
And you know what 90% of the population in Norway is? Gen Z.
That's true.
You can't prove that wrong. You haven't been there. And if you have, hi, Norway. I love you.
Hi, Norway.
I do really love you.
The Madden curse is a really interesting one to go with, though, because you don't think of it as a traditional video game myth, but it's such a superstition.
I never saw that on Game Trailer's pop fiction show. So
I wonder why Game Trailers wouldn't talk about a sports game. Yeah, it's enough that there was a superstition that I'm sure there's been at least one player that was like, no, I don't want to be on the cover of Madden.
Yeah, there were a couple. I think that kind of led to for a little bit, so you had Sean Alexander, who was the MVP, who had the most rushing touchdowns in a year, and the next year he was awful. You had Vince Young, who was like a great rookie, and then the next year he just like out for the entire year. There were like a bunch of things like that kept happening. Donovan McNabb went to a Super Bowl, and then the next year he was garbage. Well, not garbage, but bad enough. That whole Eagles team imploded because of T.O. But I remember, I think like eventually the Madden curse started to get to a lot of people's heads. And I'm not saying this is why it happened, but I remember they did a fan vote to see who would be on the Madden cover.
I remember that.
And they picked Browns running back Peyton Hillis, which was some guy who just came out of nowhere. He had like the most ridiculous season. He's a guy that no one even thought of. And then he came in, he had like a bunch of touchdowns, a bunch of catching touchdowns, rushing yards, did tremendous. And he beat people like Brady and whatnot. Like people voted for him to get in. And then the next year he did absolutely garbage. It was like, for a while, like a lot of people really did believe the Madden curse.
Yeah.
I think there was another quarterback who got on there and like he tore his ACL.
That was me. I do feel our retention going down as we talk about sports in real time.
Right?
Yes.
Trav, what's your go-to that you wanted to mention?
All right. So it's not my favorite gaming rumor, gaming whatever, but it is always the first one that comes to mind because I did believe it as a tiny child in 4th grade.
Ooh,
okay.
And that was the playground rumor of if you get 20 KOs in Cruel Smash and Smash Bros. Melee, you unlock Sonic and Tails.
I'm still trying to get that, man. Down being with Donkey Kong isn't hitting.
Dude, yeah, that was the strat. You just down B with Donkey Kong through the whole thing. Well, at least no. That's how you just beat Multi-Man Smash, and then you try that in Cruel Melee, and you just get pummeled.
You get destroyed.
I love how that's one of the ones that's like
I could
it's
never
not
do
hard.
that as a kid.
It's not hard to prove wrong, but it's not like it's
I
not.
didn't know anyone who could do it back then.
Yeah, like it's one of those where ostensibly you could have found one person in your school. It's like, oh, I've done that, and he didn't show up. But then of course you'd be like, oh, he's a liar.
He didn't show up.
He's the liar. Everyone else is telling the truth.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's not real? I want to believe. Die.
Well, that's a good one.
No, that's funny because I think my playground rumor was that you could get Mewtwo by leaving your GameCube on for 24 hours, which was real. Like
that one was real.
That one was real, but no one ever did it, so we were like, it's got to be bullshit.
It's more complicated than that. You need to have like 24 hour. It's actually closer to like 10 hours of constant like time playing the game.
Yeah.
And so you would leave a timed match playing overnight or something.
Yeah.
So that one was kind of true, but then just kind of got lost in translation for some people.
Yeah, because some people would just leave the game on and it wouldn't work, and they'd be like, "Oh, it must be fake."
Yeah.
But
meanwhile,
no, you just lead like a infinite.
I want to say it was only
stock
10
match.
hours, but yeah.
I do remember that.
Did you guys ever do
stock match?
going on a tangent here? Did you guys ever do the trick of fighting a level 9 Ness on? The Donkey Kong. I can't remember. I think it was Jungle Japes. The like sunset Donkey Kong level. Because for whatever reason, if you have like a level 9 Ness in the 3rd player slot and just don't move, he will just jump into a pit and die. And so
is it
like
the one with the running water?
Yeah. Okay, both of them have running water. That doesn't help.
Well, no, it's the water's going sideways. It's going from right to
the
left.
water's going left to right.
Yeah.
Just for whatever reason, a level 9 Ness will jump into a pit, and that was like a trick for people who like they didn't want to do the other means to unlock a character, so they just because every character in Melee had a criteria where you could unlock them through this more challenging way, or you could just do a certain amount of matches in like multiplayer mode.
Yes.
So.
Because usually you would either play adventure mode in Melee or you'd play classic mode, and most of that usually got you a character.
Yeah.
And then Game & Watch was always the last one you got because it was either the most matches.
You needed to have all the characters else to get them. Yeah. There was that. There was what was it? Like there's a bunch of the late game ones just got like misreported by a bunch of websites when I was growing up on how to unlock them. Like the Mewtwo 24-hour thing, for example.
Yeah, and no one could ever figure out how to get Marth like consistently.
Yeah.
But when you got Marth, you got Roy.
Up.
Yeah. Once you got Marth, you got Roy because you just had to beat classic mode with Marth, and then you got Roy.
Yeah.
But no one ever figured out how to get Marth in my grade.
These are some of my favorite gaming truths. But
God.
But what about a gaming myth?
One of
Justin?
my one of mine that I like isn't really a gaming myth necessarily, as much as we started reaching that era where companies leaned into them more. So I really always appreciated how Halo treated its skulls. Because they'd be so out of the way. So like, oh, you gotta jump on this specific platform, wait 10 minutes, and then an elevator will come down and you'll get the skull or whatever. And it was a combination of that, little lore snippets that would sometimes come from that, because there'd be like a terminal nearby sometimes, which would give you some deeper lore back when Halo lore mattered. And I always really like appreciated that, and the fact that those had a gameplay impact once you got them, because it was a challenge modifier of some sort. And I think it came down to like, what was it, relatively recently? I think it was Critical actually did like a bounty for the first person to beat Halo 2 all skulls on Legendary, which essentially means that if you die, you start the whole level over, which is incredibly
it's brutal.
Incredibly rough.
Are like 30 minutes long.
Yeah, and some of them are required stealth, sort of. It's Halo 2 is a weird game for that, but it's one of those where I remember there being myths related to beating Halo 2 with all the skulls on back in the day, which was always a fun one.
Yeah.
But that's one that I always really appreciated. And then I know I mentioned at the start of the podcast the GTA San Andreas, the Sasquatch in the woods type thing, or like there were like occasionally there were running cars that would just show up out of nowhere with nobody in them, like stuff that wasn't necessarily like coded into the game to be that way, just a weird bug that consistently happened in one spot that just set people off hunting for these things. And there are videos all over YouTube of people like documenting the Yeti hunts and all like that weird stuff around that mountain in San Andreas, and that was always really fun.
Is all of that why there's like an actual Sasquatch in Red Dead?
Yes. That is exactly why. And I think that's also why like that Sasquatch has some dialogue in that quest where he's like, yeah, you guys kept looking for us and hunting us down, like
my
really
favorite
angry.
I like that he's so pissed off. He's like, we don't eat babies.
Yeah. So good. That was really good moment of self-awareness by Rockstar towards the audience, rather than just being, pure satire. Brody, what are some of your favorite go-tos?
Okay, my favorite is one that none of you will have ever heard of because it was made up by a liar from my school.
Okay.
Okay, that's the best way of this setup. This is the best way of how it happened.
Okay.
Now, to preface this, I'll give you another one he said, which was so easily disprovable, but it was he was so adamant that there was a spin-off Sonic series called Sonic Babies for the Game Boy Advance, and that it was a trilogy of them, and it was like Looney Tunes babies, but it was Sonic. And it was like, that doesn't exist. I don't know what he was trying to do there. But the one that he really wanted to convince people of was that if you got all 120 Shine Sprites in Super Mario Sunshine, which nobody ever bothered to do because of the blue coins, if you got all 120, you unlocked a New Game Plus mode where the entire thing was like covered, like all of the island was covered in snow, so it was like winter themed, and it was called Super Mario Snowfall.
I remember hearing rumors about getting all the coins, but like never anything like that. Anything that had to do with the coins was like, hey, you can unlock Luigi, like that type of thing, which was also just going back to Super Mario 64, like the whole
and then you have Galaxy where that actually happens. But his thing was like, no, it's a New Game Plus, all the textures are different, it's all winter now instead of a summer themed game. And I was like, that sounds awesome. Honestly. I'm never going to be able to disprove that because I'm not getting all 120.
It's not worth
even
it.
to this day, I can't technically disprove it because I've gone and I've got 119 Shine Sprites in that game.
And it does happen, Brody. You're wrong.
Oh my god, I knew it. The thing is, I will never get Bianco Hills episode 1 because I know that I can skip it and go to PD Piranha right away, so why would I ever bother?
Because you want to enjoy the game, maybe?
No, we don't do that here.
That's the only skippable one in the entire game, so I gotta do it every time.
Speaking of kids making up rumors just in your school, that unlocked a core memory of I think I did that once. I remember it wasn't.
You do that regularly. That's just a normal occurrence.
That's true. That's not wrong. The one that I'm thinking of was So I've not played a ton of Mario Sunshine in my life ever. Like I've played it enough that I'm like, it's not really for me. I don't know. But I did not have a GameCube as a kid, and I think this was like first grade. There was some kid on the bus who was talking about Mario Sunshine, and I guess I wanted to be cool, so I was like, oh yeah, I've played that. I hadn't at the time. And he was like, yeah, I got stuck on this one specific star, and I gave him advice just based on context clues of like how to get past this platforming challenge.
Yeah.
I was right. I don't remember the specific details of it, but I remember giving him like,
he was like, hey, thanks,
like, I did it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm a god now, I guess. But yeah, that was probably the only time I think I did that, where, until I met you guys.
God.
Specifically Nico. Actually, we could talk about some of those.
It turns out that kid on the bus was Nico.
We could talk about some of those gaming myths that we made up to Nico.
You mean like Bloodborne 2?
Yeah.
No, that one's sad.
Bloodborne 2 is the funniest thing. I think that might be one of my favorite moments of being friends with you guys entirely.
He was actually really sad about
it. I ruined like a week of his, because I thought he would know better by this point in life. We'll tell these in reverse, and then Sean, after this, I want to hit one of your gaming myths. But
Sick nasty.
So what happened? The most recent one that happened was Nico really, really wants Bloodborne 2 to happen. If you ever speak to him about anything, he will inevitably come around to mentioning Bloodborne 2. And he was
PC port of Bloodborne.
Or PC port of Bloodborne. He doesn't have a PC. So...
You will get one if it comes out.
That's true. That was his excuse to buy one. But I sent a link of like Bloodborne 2 announcement, like a really clearly fake YouTube video. And by this point in life, I thought that he would know to click through to the link before getting excited. And he didn't. He saw that and he's like, oh my God, that's so cool. And he started telling people in his life, like, oh my God, Bloodborne 2. No. In the span of like the 5 minutes that I was like, I should probably mention this is fake. Because now that I think about it, there's a chance he won't click through to the link, even though we always hit him with these dumb things where we bully him and post a fake link. And he got very sad, and I felt bad.
Yeah.
I still feel bad about that one.
I just can't believe he told people.
Yeah, it was such a short amount of time. It was like 4 p.m. Like he's at work. So I get why he didn't like click in the link actively, I think, if it was 4 p.m. actually. But there wasn't like, oh, like I should wait before I get excited. It was just, is this real? Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah. Like I'm running through a brick wall as we speak.
Yeah.
I called off work. Let's go.
So that one made us all feel bad when we all witnessed it happen, and I did it.
Yeah. It was one of those. It was one of those things that like you're laughing at. You're like, oh my god. Yeah. That one sucked. But there's a better one that didn't suck, which was our first too many games together as a family. So I bought a Dreamcast that year. It's actually sitting over there on my shelf that we featured in the thumbnail of one of our recent Crubcast videos over at youtube.com/@CrubOfficial, where you can find these in video form and see all of our pretty mugs and Brody's VTuber model, and M's VTuber model, and Trav's burp right there at exactly it's right there.
Whatever the timestamp is of this video. You can go and watch the video versions of these podcasts. You can also watch exclusive video content that we put out over on the YouTube feed, such as some of the stuff that we've been talking about related to Yakuza's weird pre-order stuff. We have another special one coming out in a few weeks that should be Pokemon related. That'll be fun. We've talked about a bunch of Pokemon, the DLC, and reviewing that and all that fun stuff over at the YouTube. So if you're listening in the audio realm, there's more content to watch over there. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's also an audio version. If you want to listen to that, it's the same thing as this, but you don't need to take up as much data. So follow us on all of your favorite audio platforms.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Justin, do you want to tell the story setting up the Dreamcast story?
Yeah. So it was our first TMG. Kevin started like building his collection of stuff that he now has. So he didn't have a Dreamcast. He didn't have a Genesis. We were going through all of the.
Oh, I did buy a Genesis that year too. That's right.
Yeah, we were going through all the booths, and we were picking up all the consoles that he didn't have. And we were driving to TMG, I believe the second or the last day. So either the Saturday or the Sunday, and Nico was asking Kevin like, "Oh, hey, what else are you looking for at the convention?" Because we usually like look for each other. instead of just looking for stuff that we want, we look for things that everybody else wants as well. And he was like, oh, I already got a Dreamcast. And then I replied to him, oh, you need to get a second Dreamcast.
Oh, no.
So you can link them up together to like trade your Pokemon between each other. And knowing that that's a joke, because in the olden days, you would get 2 Game Boys and 2 copies of Pokemon so you could trade yourself. Mm-hmm. But Nico driving just replies, oh, is that actually true? And
oh, no.
Kevin and I look at each other without saying a word. We give each other like a little bit of a nod, and we just go, yeah. And you'd put the Pokemon cartridges, like you could do it from the actual Game Boy games by taking the Pokemon cartridge and putting it into the VMU slot on the Dreamcast controller.
And we started weaving this tale about how Nintendo actually owned Sega for a while, and that this was why this happened, and that you could play home console Pokemon via the VMU. Essentially telling the story of Pokemon Stadium with the little cartridge adapter you could get. So we did all this, and we just told this most fanciful tale of trading Pokemon and all this stuff. And Nico, this was before he had played Bloodborne, so he wasn't yet.
He wasn't a gamer.
He was still a new gamer, to quote that one video from my channel.
The one.
And only the one.
The one.
Only the one. Every other one, he's usually shirtless, so it's a little different.
It's true,
but
he's ripped his shirt off multiple occasions.
Yeah. Oh my god,
it's happened enough that it's kind of.
And it's going to happen more next month.
Don't you worry. Yeah. So that was the gist of it. Was just Nico believed it, because why would we lie to our friend? And we did. We did at the end, after sitting there quietly, like for a few minutes after telling that story. I just go, yeah, we made all that up, and
all of that was fake.
Yeah, all of that was a lie, and
okay.
Many laughs were had, but it's still.
Then next year, Kevin found Pokemon on the Dreamcast.
Yes, I found a copy, like a bootleg Pokemon on Dreamcast, where it was like someone had taken the ROM of Pokemon and put Gen 1 and 2 onto a CD that you could play via Dreamcast, which is a real thing. My favorite part of this is that there were several years after this where Nico was still confused about Sega's history. Because he thought that the Sega being owned by Nintendo part was real for a while longer than the rest of the story. Because he was like, that's why I thought it was plausible, because they owned Nintendo, or whatever. And
they owned Nintendo.
And so we had to then explain years after the fact, no, none of what we said was true. Not a single piece of that.
Lie.
He saw.
To be fair, that part I could kind of see him believing.
Yeah.
Or like just a person believing.
Yeah, but that was what got him to buy into the story in the first place, was the fact that he thought that Nintendo and Sega were the same company at one point.
Not to dunk on Nico too much, but one of my favorite rumors that he made up was that the Nintendo 64 was made in the year 1964.
Yep.
That's a banger, though.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
There was something else we did the following year that was a similar tale where we got him to believe it. I don't remember what it was. But we did it for like 2 to 3 years in a row, and then he stopped talking to us.
We kept trying to make things up. Yeah, we kept trying to make things up that we were like, this would be plausible. He'd do that. He'd believe that.
Yeah.
And then after a while, he just stopped believing anything
he
said.
He doesn't talk to us anymore.
What you guys said. I haven't liked.
He doesn't talk to us anymore.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is the podcast for this week?
God. Yeah, actually, all of this happened back in like 2015. The podcast itself. Not that.
I really did think that that story was going to go to the point where he ended up buying you another Dreamcast.
Oh, no.
I was kind of hoping so.
He just has 2.
That's just where I thought that story was going naturally.
Yeah, I thought that too.
My favorite end game to that is that I've only used that Dreamcast like twice. Like I bought it, and I'm glad I have it, but I'm a bad collector with the Dreamcast. And the main reason was I loaded Shenmue up and realized that game sucks. And
I've heard not great things about it.
I want to go back to it.
I thought you said Shamu. I'm sorry.
No. Don't worry, Trav. We'll get you to Shamu.
I'm bringing my Shamu copy when I see you.
Dear God.
I already have one.
I said what I said.
I think you have 2. Okay. I think we both gave you a copy of Shamu. I think you have 2. Sean and I both.
That's not true because I only know of one.
I definitely gave you one. I don't know that Sean did as well.
I don't, but it's right over there. I'm not kidding you. It is on my. I'm bringing it with me.
I like.
I know where mine is.
Shamu is the one constant of Crub.
Yeah, that's the copy of Shamu is right next to the sealed copy of Kingdom Hearts.
It's not sealed. None of them are sealed.
I bought it sealed because that way people will think I'm just a collector and not that I didn't play this goddamn game. The story of the Dreamcast, why I stopped playing it, was that Shenmue's really hard to play in general because it's just a very of its time game. And I was hoping that I would like it more than I did, and I didn't, sadly. But then I loaded up a copy of Sonic Adventure that I had at the time. I still have it. I don't know why I said that. But I loaded it up, and I got I got to Casinopolis, and then the game corrupted, and all the rings started making like very loud bit-crunched versions of the ring noise.
Oh.
And so I never touched that Dreamcast again because I'm pretty sure it's haunted. But that's my favorite gaming myth.
It's because we lied.
Yeah, it was the curse of the Dreamcast. Sean, what's one of your favorite or most treasured childhood or adulthood gaming myths or rumors?
God, there's a couple. There's Mortal Kombat Ermac. There's different.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
There's the different Bonds in James Bond, which I remember, like me and my 007 on the Nintendo 64, which me and a bunch of my friends. I remember we sat down specifically to figure out a way to do that. Couldn't do it. There's like a video that like documents the entire like that whole myth and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it in a while, but like it was very interesting. But my favorite, and this is a game that I actually have only played a remake of.
Kingdom Hearts.
I'm going to scream. So, not to go into specific spoilers, but in Final Fantasy VII, someone goes away.
What?
That's a way to put it.
Huh?
Yeah, and
they went up to the farm.
Yeah, they went to say. Yeah, they went to Dr. Phil's farm and they never came back. But
Dr. Phil.
But there's a way to bring them back, and that was one of the biggest myths that I remember seeing all the time on like all sorts of different like GameSpot forums.
Yeah.
Like there were YouTube videos where people were like kind of splicing in. I remember people were splicing in like Final Fantasy videos to like make it seem all real and stuff. But I felt like that was probably the biggest thing because like everybody tried to do it. I remember I had a friend who spent like, kid you not, he restarted his entire game to do everything he was told to do. There was like a whole game FAQ, like
guide,
30 pages, and he went step by step and still couldn't do it. And it's one of those that like I wish I could have experienced because I didn't play the first. I didn't play Final Fantasy VII. I've only played Remake. I'm going to keep it that way until the Remake, Rebirth stuff, all that's done, because I feel like that's something that like I can experience that I don't think a lot of other people can, because a lot of people played Final Fantasy VII. I didn't. I have no idea what the piss happens outside of like that thing.
Ooh.
Brody, this is my moment. Okay, I'm going to scream.
Same.
This is also my moment.
That's Final Fantasy X. I find it really interesting with 7 as well, because there's a good chance that a similar version of that myth is going to repopulate, and that's one that you forget about, because it is, I mean, let's be real, it's the Darth Vader moment of gaming. It is the one where it's a spoiler, only in the sense that it could be now because of Remake, but I don't think that's going to happen in Remake. I think it's going to be somebody else.
I mean, it's funny you say everyone tried to do it, because apparently even Tetsuya Nomura tried to find a way.
Yeah, right.
God. Yeah, and it's one of those where it's just actually like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bunch of stuff in Rebirth, or I'm assuming it'll be in Rebirth where it happens, if they're going to do something like that. Yeah, and it'll be really interesting to see, because there will probably be some like New Game Plus thing where you can get them back temporarily, whatever character goes away to the farm.
Dr. Phil's farm. You have to be specific.
Dr. Phil.
Yeah. But that's a really good one, because you forget that's a thing, because it's so commonly known a thing that it's been so long that you just forget about it.
Yeah, but
it's such an accepted piece of that game.
Yeah.
That you forget that people were like, I gotta try and figure out a way to reverse that. Which also speaks to how well liked a lot of the Final Fantasy VII cast is.
Yeah.
Where everyone was trying to figure out a way to save that character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And another one that I just thought of, because I only got to speak for maybe 2 minutes about I'm kidding. The other one that I really thought of way back in the day was Star Fox Adventures, where I remember reading on GameSpot that if you beat the game at like the hardest difficulty and got like perfect score and everything, you could actually play the actual continuation in the Air Wing, and there's like a whole game afterwards and blah, blah, blah. It didn't exist. I'm still mad about that.
The funny thing is, if they did let you do that, it would just be a remake of Star Fox 64.
Like every other Star Fox game has been.
Mm-hmm.
No, there was that Assault on the GameCube.
I heard that if you beat Star Fox Zero on the Wii U more than once, you'll actually like the game.
What?
That's true, actually. The more you play that game, I actually like that game a good bit.
Star Fox Zero is pretty good, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, like that game got a lot of flack for people not wanting to use the Wii U like it's supposed to be used.
Yeah. And I feel like if more people would have played it with an open mind, it would have been more enjoyable. I think for me, because I like Star Fox, I was really into it, but I know it, like the controls just wasn't for everybody.
Which I get. That's one of those where I do think it comes down to a little bit skill issue because the game's only like half an hour long, so just play it a couple times. You know, it's a platinum game. It's short. You're supposed to replay it. But B, the people that were consuming Wii U games were the saltiest MFers on the planet.
Oh my god!
Because they were Wii U owners. I speak as a Wii U owner, so they had nothing to be happy about. I get it. I owned a Wii U, but it was wild how much flack that game got for just kind of being unique. You know?
Yeah.
It dared to be its own thing.
I mean,
that's still kind of Star Fox 64.
It's literally like when people ask, like, "Oh, make a Wii U game that uses both screens," and then, "Oh, not like that."
They did. Yeah.
Brody, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
I was that feels like just of the era for any Nintendo game that came out that wasn't like Mario or Zelda, because there had just been no games in any given series for so long that one came out and it wasn't the specific thing, like Federation Force or whatever. Like it's not what people wanted, so they were.
That one's a little more warranted, at least. I understand that.
100%. It's a similar situation.
I'm looking at Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Even like I remember being salty about 3D Land because I'm like, where's the next 3D Mario that's good, that is an open world?
Oh, you're one of those kind of people.
Yeah, well, I've come around on it now. I mean, I beat the game like 3 times. I really like it. I think it helps that Odyssey is out, so I can be like, okay, they did it. But for that like 5-year span or whatever it was like, I don't want this to be what 3D Mario is.
So. God, I get that. But I really like that game. It was a good time.
Yeah, 3D World was
rad. You could also tell that the naming conventions at the time were really bad because Brody called it 3D Land when it's actually 3D
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, there's 3D Land, 3D World.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, were you not talking about 3D Land?
No, I was talking about 3D World. Land is...
That's even worse because 3D World was awesome.
Yeah, but at the time I was
3D.
Like, you know...
Why are you stupid?
Give me open. Give me runaround.
I give 3D World a lot of credit for being the game that got me back into Nintendo. Because I had fallen out for a while, like everyone does at some point in life. You know, where like you're like, oh, I don't really want to play these anymore. And nothing against them. It was just like, that's not really for me. It's not I'm not the audience for this anymore. And 3D World, I remember seeing the early trailers and I was like, man, that looks dumb. And of course, it was me, dummy, who was speaking. So it was not dumb. And the second trailer, like the second or third trailer, at some point convinced me where I was like, actually, no, this looks really sick. And I'm glad that I watched this because I bought a Wii U for that game. And I actually bought it really cheap thanks to a GameStop coupon. So I got it for the cheapest price it ever was until the Switch came out. It was like $200 instead of, $350 at the time, which was pretty rad. And I still have that Wii U not plugged in to this day. Also next to the Dreamcast on my shelf of dead game systems.
I have a Wii U and I have a Wii U demo thing that they had for GameStop, like whenever it first came out.
Nice.
I sold mine. I sold mine when I moved.
I wanted to sell my first one whenever the Switch came out because they're like, we'll give you like $100-something if you do this for the Switch. I was like, okay, great. And then they asked for like the cords and I didn't have the cords. So I was like, well, all right, I'll just pay full price, whatever, piss off.
To clarify, Justin, you sold your kiosk Wii U.
Yes, the kiosk.
Yeah.
The Wii U demo station. I had a Wii U demo station because my brother used to work at GameStop, and he was pretty high up there in the food chain. So when the Switch was coming out, Nintendo gave them an order to basically destroy everything that has to go with the demo station and throw it in the trash, except for the console. The console to send back. And my brother then just took the whole demo station and put it in his car and brought it home. And it was really, really cool. It had a subwoofer in it, so any game I played on there,
yours
just
is better
like
than
had
mine.
the bass.
Yeah,
and it was sick. And then I sold it for like
destroyed it.
That's a good return on investment for that thing.
Yeah.
I love those kiosk things.
It's so cool. It was the heaviest thing I ever moved in my life.
We had to move it for when we filmed the Catherine video. I think it was in the way.
We did,
and we had to move it to the other side of the room. And then I threw up on your floor.
You did do that.
We've told that story a few times for those who haven't listened on previous podcasts where we did talk about it. The brief version is that when we filmed my Catherine full body video, we filmed it in Justin's basement. We put Nico in the outfit of the character that does the frame story. So in a silver button down shirt and a red afro. We put him in that.
That's bred into two afros.
Yes. And we made him recite, because the way the Catherine story works is that it's all a frame story where they over-explain the plot to you at the start and end via the framing device. And this character is the one that does that. So we made Nico just essentially word for word recite the intro to Catherine in this full outfit. And he didn't understand any of it because he didn't play Catherine. And... honestly, it was also us probably bullying our friend now that I think about it.
We also made him eat a cheeseburger as
like a cigarette,
holding it like a cigarette,
like this. For those in the video realm, just holding it between two fingers because we have a friend that does that. It's a whole thing. I
have that saved as a reaction picture in my folder.
You should watch the Catherine video.
Just watch. Just watch the beginning and end of it. The rest of it, I think, is also good, but it's an older video of ours. But that's probably one of the precursors to the dumb Crub stuff that we do now. Is that moment of making him do that, filming it with as high of production value as we possibly could, because we filmed
multiple angles.
Well, multiple angles. So we had 3 cameras. We had a single shot in the middle where I then spliced it down the middle, because then at the end I come in the same outfit, and we say one of us has to change. And I'm holding a hot dog like a cigarette, a glizzy. And I eat, it's a chili cheese glizzy also. And we kept it in the fridge for like 2 hours because we had to film. And Nico
I said, hey, we should microwave this. And you said no.
Yeah, I did. And so I ate the hot dog, and that's what made me throw up on Justin's floor because it was so disgusting. And we had to do so many takes of it because A, we gave Nico so many lines to read. And then B, once he finally got the lines down that he could do it all in one take. Because I was really dumb about doing one takes at that time, but that also needed to be one take. By the time he got it right, Justin then farted really loudly during one of the shots where Nico's holding this hamburger, and this is the legendary line, where Nico says, Justin, what the hell? You're making me look like a bitch, but my fingers hurt. Because he's been holding like a double Whopper, like a double quarter pounder from McDonald's. He's holding that between 2 of his fingers the entire time. And
this is my favorite video game myth.
Don't worry about it. The myth is that
Catherine myth.
The myth is that Nico is actually in Catherine and his real name is Seanock. That's the...
I don't
that
like
is true.
that.
Yeah.
100% the game, you get the clip.
That's just a fact.
Yeah. God, that's...
Yo, if you 100% babble, you should get Seanock.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Who would... Why? No one should do that.
100% babble.
Right?
God, yeah.
Babble's a mode in Catherine, not the language app.
That's
I was thinking the tower.
I'm going to 100%
the language
Spanish.
App.
My mind was only going to like the biblical tower.
That's what it's based off
named
of.
After,
Yeah.
We're inventing new languages today.
Yeah.
God.
So
and then they painted over that rug, by the way.
That's one of the 4 stories we have as a group. So look forward to hearing it again next week.
Yeah.
Justin, name another one of the list of video game myths and rumors that you would like to talk about.
Here's one that is this is a rumor of video games, but it's something that everybody does.
Okay.
When they're trying to play some retro games, and that's blowing into the cartridge.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't actually work.
Yeah.
But it's something that everybody does, and it's a placebo effect that is just like, if you do it and you put it back in, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that with like there's also doing that with like the PlayStation 2 where you like take the disc out and like rub it down, put it in, and just wait for the sound.
Yeah.
You just like look away.
This time.
Yeah, you just like look away, like I'm not paying attention.
I remember one that I heard a lot related to that. It was like from a really early YouTube Nintendo channel back from like 2007. That was like, and remember when you blow into the cartridge, it's okay to get a little bit of spit in there because the moisture helps the nodes connect.
It's conductive, yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, it was just this video of this guy blowing, like, into the cartridge.
I think my dad said that about spitting on me at one point. He didn't like me very much.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
If you spit on Kevin, he gets more conducive.
So you were a GameCube at Dad's kind of guy, huh?
You know what the weird part is?
Were you quoting my old Twitter handle?
No, I'm quoting you in the podcast. Because you said that in the first episode of the podcast, bro.
That makes sense. No, it was my old Twitter handle. I was a PS2 at Mom's, GameCube at Dad's kind of kid. I forgot I said that on the pod.
That's a really long handle.
That is. Oh my god.
And then Kevin replied, so your dad hated
description.
That's
God.
right. That's right. We did do that.
It feels like 7 years ago.
It's been almost a year since that happened.
Yeah,
I can't be expected
we're getting close to the 1 year anniversary of Crub. So,
do you remember that?
We should quit.
We're gonna all 8 of us will blow out
go
one
out
candle.
on top.
Yeah.
We're just gonna spit all over the candle so it gets more conductive.
You know what's bad, Kevin, is this is not the first time you've asked me to spit on something.
Yeah, we ask you to do that every week.
I know. It's because of my dad. He would spit on me and then zap me with batteries.
Are you trying to make me your new dad?
And so now I make all my friends electrocuted.
He'd like spit on me and then put a 9-volt right on there. It hurt like a bitch.
No, car battery.
Oh, okay. You got it easy.
I'm not even gonna say what.
How is that easy?
I think you should use a rechargeable.
Something I was gonna say related to what I said earlier about the cartridges is that apparently I saw a video a while ago that was much earlier than 2007 that said actually blowing into the cartridges does more harm than good because the moisture makes it corrode.
Awesome.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that actually is based in reality.
Yeah,
I'm not going to stop doing it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no,
it's one of those things where I'm not going to stop.
Why not? It's bad.
Why would I? No, it's not. It's fine.
Why would I ever change my opinion in the face of verifiable new information? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
Understandable.
The correct answer is just to keep lying and tell your friends more and more lies until they believe you. Trust me.
Kind of like Nico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the ones, Brody? I've hit you with a few of those, and I can't remember what they are, but there's a really funny couple.
I can't remember any of them, but you've done it to me so many times.
I've gotten Brody with just straight up lying.
I've learned not to trust when you're telling me the truth. That's where we're at with that.
There was one that he was telling you the truth, and I remember you just refused to believe him no matter what.
It was a running pattern because at a point once Nico stopped believing me, Brody started, and I think that was I would just hit him with something about a random I don't know Spyro myth or something. It wasn't Spyro, but
because you'll come at me and you'll tell me sometimes about whatever you're researching for your next video, and you're like, this is a really cool thing I found, and 99% of the time it's legit. You're just I was researching, I found out this, or I'll be there while you're looking up Croc stuff, and it's wow, that's that's insane. And so the odd time when you do it to me, I'm well, I guess he's just found it while he was researching something. So that's crazy. That's weird.
You gotta say it with conviction if you're gonna lie to your friends. Bro.
Yeah, no, that's you say it with such this is matter it's matter of fact.
Yeah. The Croc story is a really fun one.
Early on into our friendship, Kevin, I just kind of rolled with it no matter how real I thought it was, just because I thought it was funny and I wanted to know where it was going to go.
Now. Yeah.
I'm just I used to do that. Whenever I would hear you gaslighting Nico, my chair keeps falling down. Sorry. I would just go along with it. And I'm I don't know if this is real, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah. It's good improv skills. Just the Croc story is one, because we're already off the topic of gaming myths and rumors. Croc himself is a gaming myth and rumor, to be fair.
Gaming gaslights.
But Brody and I,
a gaming myth and rumor. Yeah. We're on the topic. I don't know what to talk about.
Brody and I had a one night until 5 a.m. when we were researching the lore of Croc, where we discovered all of the speaking of gaslighting, all of the straight up alleged lies that the creator of Croc had made about how the Miyamoto
Miyamoto clapped. Miyamoto clapped. That's true.
The story was the creator of Croc brought the idea to Nintendo because it was originally a Yoshi demo on the SNES. It was an animated 3D platformer demo. And they were like, oh, that's really neat. We didn't give you the right to use that character. How dare you? And they then stopped working with them not too long after this. And around that same time, they announced Mario 64, which allegedly used similar locales, which is to say, green. And
Croc is green.
So Croc was in production as its own thing before Mario 64 would have started production. That's actually true. But the thing that was funny about it was that A, Croc came out afterwards because it took a lot longer to make and was a worse game. And B, he was like, the creator of Croc was like several years later at a trade show of some sort. Miyamoto came up to him and personally said, "Thanks for the idea to create a 3D game. Sorry that it worked out this way." And then everybody clapped.
That's the one that I always hear.
Yeah, and then everybody clapped.
Was that fake? Like, I just didn't think much of it. I'm just like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess Miyamoto's a dick. I didn't think about it.
It's one of those things that enough.
You can't prove that it didn't happen, but like it didn't happen.
The way that it's phrased and the fact that guy got into e-gambling and crypto makes me think.
That's an interesting angle.
Yeah, he left the games industry for a long time and started getting into the internet gambling phone app game, and then invested in crypto early and made a lot of money.
And
Mr.
that's
Beast style.
How we got Croc's World.
And that's how Croc's World came to be. The legendary Croc sequel.
Yeah. So speaking of Kevin gaslighting people, I love that you just included Croc's World in that video as if it was real, as if it was actually connected. The 14 Croc games.
It's an important part of Croc lore.
It is.
I still go back and read like new comments on that video because it's so funny.
It's gotten a bunch recently. That video like started taking off again for the first time, really, because
awesome.
It came out at a very inconvenient time next to another video from a larger creator that happened to do a Croc 1 video longer than my Croc series video, and he released it like an hour before mine, just because that's one of those things that happens sometimes.
Yeah,
and. So that was funny, but it's starting to take off, and people are like, "Oh my god, I didn't know there were 14 games," and I'm like, "You're in for a summer child." That's you can tell when in the video people comment because they're like, "Oh,
dude, I love that." I was thinking, I think I've said this before, but recently, especially, I was like, I really wish that there's something in the analytics for when people comment that's like. It tells you what time they commented in the video. Like, sure, they can opt in to do that kind of, but like I would love, what is it? On mobile, there's actually a button that just puts the timestamp that you're at in the comment, which is cool. Yeah. That's a nice feature. I really wish that just analytics wise, it let you know, hey, they commented this at this point in the video, so that you could see all the people that say amazing video as always in the first 20 seconds of the video. Yeah.
It'd be really hard to track. I understand why maybe they don't do that with how many comments are being submitted every day. But man, that'd be really cool. Speaking of really cool, Sean, another gaming myth or rumor. Go.
Okay, so. Make
this one up.
Oh, we didn't make up a gaming myth. We should make one up at the end of this.
You made one up already with Croc.
No, but let's make up like as a family, Justin. Now, spit on me. Let's go.
Okay.
It's going to be like our cryptid.
You ready?
And so whatever it is, the chat and commenters, or everyone watching this, listening to this, you have to say it to other people as if it's
you're going to spread this lie with us. Spread it like
in Kingdom Hearts 4, it's going to come out. Kingdom Hearts 4. You play through the entire game. You're in Shibuya.
You're gonna play through this one?
I'm gonna scream. So
that's how you know it's fake.
You go through. You pick up all these letters, and you're not sure who it's to. And as you pick up these letters, you start to do this scientific equation, and you're like, "Oh, this seems like it's gonna be like some kind of like Marvel thing or something that Fox owns." And then you open this door, and you hear, "Bazinga! You are now inside of young Sheldon."
Wait, hold on.
Don't phrase it. Don't phrase it that way. Also, I love this, Sean, because not only is it like a quantifiable lie, it's based on predictions about a game that isn't out and won't have the things you're talking about to even lead up to the rumor.
Exactly.
So I have an idea for the one that we make up.
Okay. I really just wanted to do that. I don't even care.
It goes one of two ways, and it's thanks to you, Sean, that I've gotten here. You said young Sheldon, and I thought about how Sheldon Cooper could be in multiverses.
He could be. But multiverses is also dead.
And then I thought about
no, it's only dead because you can't buy it right now.
it's supposed to launch in early 2024 officially. It is currently early 2024, and we've not had an update.
True. Checkmate atheists.
As to when it's launching. So I remember going back to Multiverses early on, people were like, oh, it'd be really cool if Walter White was in this game, because technically that's WB. It's not. That is a Sony-owned property.
Not.
That is a Sony Pictures property.
I see where you're going with this.
Which means that if you get to rank 999 with every character in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, which you cannot do anymore because that game doesn't exist, there's no online for it. If you do that, there's a secret skin for Kratos that is Walter White.
For Kratos.
Yeah, I could see that.
Does the timeline
I was expecting?
Beard.
I guess
I don't know why I was expecting the Isaac from Dead Space.
That's worse.
Isaac Dead
actually.
Space would actually make sense. Let's make him Jesse.
Yeah, he's Jesse.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the suit. In the suit.
No, because Jesse hates it when you step on beetles, so it doesn't feel right.
No, I like this because then we can just make Spike from Ape Escape Mike Ehrmantraut.
Yeah, or what if they poorly skinned over Big Daddy and Little Sister, and they made Big Daddy Skylar and Little Sister's Walt Jr.
God,
I thought you were gonna say they're both Saul, like the texture. The texture across both of them.
I thought you were gonna say Gus and then Mike Ehrmantraut.
Actually, no. Now that I think about it, it would work out because this is 2012. So the final season of Breaking Bad would be the one that's missing from this era at this point, because we would have already had Saul. I was going to say we wouldn't, but now that I think about it, if you did Sly, you could have Bentley be Hector Salamanca.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Oh Christ!
I just want to.
Then who's Murray? That's the question that I have to ask.
Murray's going to be
Murray's
Huel. You know what? Yeah.
Huel Bobino at your service.
Yeah. I want to quickly shout out for those that don't know that we haven't mentioned this yet this stream. We do stream these live on Twitch at twitch.tv/crub_official every Tuesday around 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to catch the exclusive pre and post shows, you can do that. We have a bunch of fun. Somebody in chat just said,
I was going to mention
Jimmy.
that.
Good Cole is Jimmy and Evil Cole is Saul, which I love. Sadly, that wouldn't be canon yet to the Better Call Saul universe. But
Vince Gilligan was planning ahead.
Too. Come on,
it's updated.
It's not updated.
And PlayStation All-Stars was always a promo game. Half the characters in that game only exist because they had a game coming out that year.
It would be believable. Like you could actually.
Who would Raiden be?
Almost. Ooh, who would Raiden be?
Ooh.
Okay, I mean we're skipping ahead. I think Raiden should be Lalo.
He'd be one of the twins because he has the sword.
Yeah,
and then he'd have a skin that's the other twin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, see, who's Ted?
Yeah. Jack.
Whoever's. I just think I'm just imagining
Sweet Tooth.
I'm imagining Big Daddy and Sweet Tooth banging now.
What do you mean? Why?
Because
we said that one's Skylar and the other one's Ted.
was Skylar.
Okay, that's fair.
I understood the thought process here.
Right.
I did it, and now it.
So the thumbnail, Trav. I need you to draw something for the thumbnail for this video.
Yes,
write it down so I remember.
It's Big Daddy. It's Big Daddy going at
Big
it.
Daddy
with,
fucking. Okay, never mind. I don't want to do this.
It's Big Daddy. It's at the table. It's the Breaking Bad. It's that scene. Where it's the IFT scene where Big Daddy is telling Kratos.
Oh my god!
While Dead Space Isaac is sitting there sipping water.
I fucked Raiden.
They banged. Who was it?
It
was Sweet Tooth.
It was Sweet Tooth. Yeah.
I don't.
Holy
my
shit.
god! Oh, that is
holy shit.
See, the rumor that I was going to start about video games
hold off on posting this on YouTube till I can get that drawn.
Oh yeah, we got like 3 weeks.
I think we have an extra week because we have a special video next week, so that'll work.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, I'm so sorry for the audio listeners for coughing. Oh man.
No, don't apologize. Oh my god!
I was just gonna say the rumor that I was gonna make up was that Power World used the tree models from Sword and Shield.
God.
That one.
If we just want to talk about gaming lies, we could do the entirety of the freaking what was it? The Last of Us 2 leaks.
God, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, and I'm very thankful.
I will say on the topic of gaming rumors, it is because you mentioned the Pal World one as like a joke, but it's like the only example of like a modern one that we have, because everything is just data mined now. Like there's no secrets in video games, and
that was what I was saying about.
Well,
Pal
I think
World.
it's also because they're more incentivized to have those kind of things as just buy them. I mean, look at Halo.
Yeah.
Like there was that. What was it? I don't remember. Some kind of cool looking armor from Halo 3 that like you had to be really freaking good at the game to get, and then now in Infinite you could just buy it.
That really bothered me. That it was the Hayabusa armor.
I think I learned about it through you.
I think it was the Hayabusa armor.
Well, because Recon was the one that you only got if you were an employee of Bungie.
Yeah.
And then Hayabusa armor was being good at the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
The last game that had anything like that actually made me go like, oh wow, that's really cool. It was actually the PS4 remake of Medieval, because if you 100% the game, if you beat that game and then beat it kind of basically again, because you get these like unlockable like collectibles that happen at the end of the game, and then you have to go back through all the levels. So basically, if you beat it twice, you unlock the original like PS1 Medieval, and that's really cool.
Wait, really?
That's a really good one. Yeah,
it sounds like it would be fake.
It's real. It's awesome.
That's a real one, and you wouldn't know that because only like 200,000 people bought that game.
Yeah, I was only 100% of it.
Well, it was one of those. I really like that idea, and then I also get sad because I'm like, man, the reward for beating that game twice in a row is I playing it a third time.
I was so conflicted on it because I was like, that is such a cool 100% reward, but I just played this game twice. Yeah. You know, it's like, okay, I'm glad that it's here because I feel like all remakes should maybe be packaged with the original in some format, or at least have it be available.
Whatever possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm okay with Final Fantasy VII having,
it's a different beast.
Yeah. Well, you can get it. You can get the original on the store. Like it's not gone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I'm as long as that's happening, I'm okay with it. But Medieval is like Or like the Halo collection where they literally have a switch that you can press and it'll switch it. Yeah. Like that's what I think should be like standard practice. I'm okay with the way.
It's more for remasters more so than remakes.
Yeah. I mean, there is. You want to talk about gaming rumors? I got one that I uncovered myself, which is that apparently the Spyro remake had that at one point in development, and they just.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking with two people from Sanzaro, that's where I got this specific information, which is that they had a dev build where they were able to actually switch on the fly the graphics thing. I'm imagining that the idea of that actually being like a full-blown graphics switch was sort of like overblown, maybe by me because I'm the one that reported it, but. I would imagine it being more of like a dev thing to like make sure things are all lined up, because I don't see how you could do that with like audio and there's a few different cases where unless you're like making
engines
assets
are different, like it would.
Well, that was the thing with Halo.
Recreated.
That was the thing with Halo that was interesting, was that if I remember correctly, like Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary isn't technically a 1-to-1 remake of Halo 1. The physics are very slightly different. They just have the old graphics as a trigger.
You would have to retrofit
in
them
the
in
new
some way.
engine. Yeah. So it would probably just be the old Spyro aesthetic, but with current physics.
They had they actually had a thing. They developed a whole like tool, because they lost the source code for the original games like long ago. Like Insomniac didn't have them. They couldn't reference that. So they actually built a tool to take all of the meshes and collision and everything from Spyro 1 and basically import it into, what did they use on that? Like Unreal?
Sure.
Yeah, they called it they called it Spyroscope. You can probably Google it for actual information on how it worked. But essentially, they had like the collisions and meshes, and to the point where all of the collision in the remake, I think, is the same as the original games, which is also why some of the collision looks like it's like wrong in that game, because they didn't like in Spyro 2 specifically. I think they didn't like take the time, because they didn't have the time to actually make sure it like fit 1-to-1.
Okay.
So it looks wrong, but it's just the models themselves are technically under or oversized for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, that makes sense.
They did all that work and they still chose the wrong shade of purple.
They did.
Crazy.
One day we're gonna sit Brody down and talk about everything wrong with the Spyro remakes, just so that everyone else has to understand what we went through for that 2 years.
That's what I'll do on February 20th. I'll just rant for an hour.
It's still going.
It's still going.
But I think that we've gotten to a good point in this episode where we could introduce the Patreon question of the week.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say before we do, if there's any rapid fire ones we want to hit on real quick, because there's a lot of them that we've missed that in the comments let us know which ones we missed.
I wanted to mention L is real, but not for L is real. I wanted to mention it because my version of that was like upside down L is real from the Mario 64 DS. Yeah, because there was always the fourth door. And I was like, bruh, it's gotta be Waluigi. But then you get all the bunnies, and you open the door, and you get like a single star. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
See, I always thought it was just meant to be for Yoshi.
But Yoshi was already there.
Yeah, and you could switch back to him.
But that's why it was the extra door, because they probably did have it for Yoshi, and then they realized, oh, you don't need
because he's the default character. Yeah.
And they just didn't get rid of the door.
Nice.
I'm trying to think of what other ones.
The ones I have on my list, I mean, they're mostly copy pastas, honestly.
I have one that I lied to myself about. When I was like 8 years old, maybe, my sister had a bunch of emulators on our computer, and so I just played a lot of them. And I didn't know how emulators worked back then. It's like, oh, cool, Nintendo game on computer. And so I lied to myself and said, if I beat these games, I'll unlock more games.
You can make that true. You can beat those games and then go download more. Like you can functionally make that true if you wanted to.
No, Trav, you're living everyone's truth. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
We gotta get Trav one of those 1 million games in one cartridges.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'll make a whole ass video about those.
And he'll never be. The video will never come out because he's like, well, they keep unlocking new ones.
Never mind. That's funnier than anything I would have said. I was gonna say that, like, if they're like those real 1,000 games in one things, then half of them just don't work anyway.
And they just loop at a point. They're just different names.
Yeah.
Or it's the Japanese version. Yeah.
What is on my list? It's a lot of copy pastas. Herobrine is one.
Oh, I believe Herobrine for a short bit.
Lavender Town.
Oh yeah, I mean, the Lavender Town thing. I that's another one that like it hit me at that right age where I was ultra gullible.
Yeah.
I believed all that shit. I was like, oh my god, guys, you can see the unknown if you put it in an audiograph.
God.
I have been drowned as well.
That one I didn't believe. I thought it was cringe.
Yeah, that one was. But I just wrote down a bunch of them before because we were getting ready for this episode, and I was like, man, the only one I can remember is Mew under the truck. Sonic and Melee.
Yeah, I had my own Ben drowned moment because the first time I ever played Glover, I got a used copy of Glover on N64 from like a mom and pop used video game place, and I played it, and it was like a completed file. And I went into it, and that's a scary overworld to be met with for the first time as a kid. Like that was my.
I just saw in chat a really good one that I actually believed, well into high school, is Polybius.
That was actually one on my list as well.
That's a good one.
Polybius.
Polybius was so cool. Mm-hmm. Even knowing that it's fake, it's still just a good story.
Trav really putting into the swear jar.
I was gonna say Trav's in that swear jar.
I forgot about the swear jar. Hold on, let me donate $100 to charity. Balls dicks. Why'd I do that?
Why did you do that? There's two that I think of. One is the Atari Sword Quest, which that's a whole thing I'll get into.
That's actually really cool, and that was real.
Yeah, that is real. Me and four of my friends, we have decided that one day we're just gonna take off work for an entire month and just go try to find these people. And I'm not kidding. And number two, Eric, if you're listening to this, and I'm shouting you out. If you're listening to this, we're doing this. Eric.
Shout out to Derek.
Number two.
Shout out to Derek. Wow.
E.T. All sorts of those cartridges being in the middle of a landfill in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. But that's actually true as well.
It is.
Because there's a movie about that, actually.
Yeah, it used to be this isn't true, and no, it used to be a myth, and then people didn't believe it, and then it got discovered that, oh my god. It was one of those really interesting things that there's been so many videos about it, and like you said, documentaries, that it went from being a myth that was busted to being a myth that was actually true. It was really interesting to watch that happen in real time.
Yeah.
E.T. God, now I'm just thinking of E.T. at the Walter White house.
E.T. at the Walter White house.
Because I just went back to Sweet Tooth.
All right, Bing AI.
So, we'll
That's
jump
where the pizza went.
We'll jump over to the Patreon question of the week, which fittingly for this episode, since we told stories about bullying our good friend and co-crubber Nico, it is from TheCrazyEven, who asks, so Nico's gotten quite a few interesting habits and thoughts, parentheses, affectionately, even says this with love. But what's a habit that you guys have that could rival shoe condoms or the horse hatred? If Nico is in this episode, he's not actually, so that's it.
Hold
so
on.
what are some of our Nico-isms?
I just need a point of order here because I've never heard shoe condoms, but I'm going to take a shot in the dark as to what I think it is. He doesn't want to take off his shoes indoors, so he wants to put a condom over his shoe so that he doesn't have to.
It's better than that. He bought them. They exist.
They exist.
Yeah.
Even better. This is a story we've told on air. We then found out that all of these Nico-isms that exist, especially shoe condoms, is something his dad had already done years prior. So this is genetic.
When I am never inviting him to my house because I have carpet and I don't want it painted.
He might not paint carpet.
I don't know. He might get there one day.
At some point he did. We went over a lot of this and he kind of realized, oh wait, I could see myself painting carpet one day. So there's a chance.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be my house. I just feel it. He's only going to be there one time.
Your house.
He's going to show up to my house
with a can of spray paint.
Hey, I'm here.
And how am I going to stop him? I can't.
He's just going to watch
your house. Don't let him in.
No.
He'll find a way in.
If he drives, several hours to Sean's house, Sean's got to let it happen.
Yeah,
and
no,
film it.
I can't stop it. Like I
can't stop it.
God, I can't. And you know what's going to upset? I was going to say, like, Nico's not going to hear this part. He's going to listen to this. He's going to hear this. And if he's committed to the bit, I will have to let him do it. I'm not even kidding. I swear on everything. If he shows up to my house, I will let him spray paint my carpet.
That'll be a special upload on the YouTube one day.
That sounds like a euphemism.
Is spray painting carpet a euphemism? Yeah.
No,
you saw it.
What do you mean I saw it?
He sent the pictures in the chat.
Yeah.
Did you
saw the spray painted carpet?
We're not going to go.
I'm looking at the chat right now. I don't see it.
We're not going to go over that story in detail, but the short of it was that Nico's dad bought at his place of work was like, oh, this carpet looks kind of gross. I'm gonna, instead of power washing it, or like a steam cleaning it rather, or getting a new carpet.
I do remember this.
He got a bunch of blue spray paint and spray painted it. He is a character. He will be on the podcast one day. We'll go around the circle. What are habits, or I'm going to call them Nico-isms, as Even said, affectionately, because I don't know what else to describe hating horses and making that a character trait. Brody, you go first. Well, you can't say Spyro.
Well, so I was going to say, I feel like out of all of us, if anyone's going to have them, it's going to be me. I could not tell you off the top of my head what any of them are. I feel like you guys could.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like I'm gonna need someone else to answer for me because I have no idea.
Ooh. For Brody, it's probably related to Spyro.
Affectionately,
It's probably related to Cloud Spires, the level, where the platforms are no longer spires, we're clouds.
See, as long as someone else is saying it, it doesn't sound as crazy.
It's either that or I can't think of. There's definitely another one, but I can't think of it yet. So we'll circle back.
I've got to have like some weird stuff. I'm just weird, like strangely stubborn.
Laying down while recording the podcast.
Not this one. Not this one.
That was podcast. Awesome. That was a fight. We had to fight for that one.
Are you serious?
I'm still working on it. I think I could get it to work now with my.
Oh my god!
He wouldn't buy because he wouldn't buy a microphone. He's like, I can't do it while sitting up. I would sound so tired if I did that.
I just wanted a headset.
That's so good.
that was a whole thing because
that is a Nicoism.
Yeah, that would be the one. It's what it sounds like. I can't even describe it. It was that there was a lengthy debate that I think I solved by buying Brody a mic, and I said, here's your mic. We're not doing this. Because Brody wanted to lay on his couch while recording the podcast.
I needed a new mic anyway because mine was broken, and I thought, hey, why don't I get something that I can because I feel like I talk better when I have a headset on with like a mic in front of me because I play video games and I naturally have
play video games.
Yeah, surprisingly, and I feel like I just talk more naturally when I'm I have the thing in front of my face and I have the headset on my ears and I'm just in a certain state versus when I'm sitting up at a computer and I'm okay, now I have to be rigid and blah, blah, blah. It's not my natural state. So what I did a lot of the time on the previous podcast that Em and I were on is I would just set up in my chair and kind of just lay back and recline with the Yeti kind of there, and I would just have my hands behind my head chilling. Now granted, you got to remember this was an 8-hour podcast every week, so it was a different situation,
different energy, understandably.
Those were some times.
But I wanted to just give myself the option for that without having to be beholden to a Yeti. But here I am.
We solved it.
Mm-hmm.
So that those would be yours. Justin, do you have any you'd like to self-diagnose?
Is it you guys harassing me as Bernie Sanders? Can that count?
That's not something you do. That's something we do to you.
That's not just to you either. It's just mostly to you.
It's also to Bernie.
Yeah, if Bernie, there was a point where Bernie Sanders just became sentient and started harassing himself, and we kind of just cut you out of it because,
I wouldn't give it the same thrill as I was before.
I no longer can edge off this. Thank you. Now I need to.
I don't want images of Bernie.
I need the feeling of the burn in my burn. Shit. Thank you.
Burn in my bird. Thank you.
This is just how it is every night.
So that's true. That's pretty true.
I mean, I guess it would be just as fervently as Nico is about Bloodborne is me probably about dumb video games.
Gotcha games.
Gotcha games. What was that one that you kept mentioning enough so that a commenter or a chatter mentioned it so that you could talk about it more, like this podcast?
Under Night in Birth 2, Sis Celeste.
That one.
It's a fighting game. It's a fighting game.
Huh?
It was a thing that Justin mentioned on the pre-show, a game that just came out at the time of recording.
Okay.
That's all. If you want to catch the pre-show and post-show after the fact, go to patreon.com/Crub. You can donate to at the time of you're listening to this, the founder tier may no longer be there, but you can submit your question to the Patreon question of the week by becoming a Crub scriber over there on Patreon. I would also say, Justin, in your case, it's being famous.
Yeah.
True.
That's one.
It's not. I didn't choose this life. This life chose me.
Yeah.
The famous life chose JTart9.
Yeah, kind of like how Nico didn't choose to hate horses. He just kind of
Justin got popular. I instead got ADHD.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's a mood.
Okay.
That's a Nicoism.
Yeah.
No.
What would so Sean's would be announcing a video.
What?
Holy shit!
I like that. I don't even get to answer. It's just this is what it is, Sean.
We're all diagnosing each other, so you're gonna get to go. You're gonna get to hit me, and it's probably just gonna be being an asshole.
I was gonna say mine, but okay.
We
you already took one of mine.
hit you with anything even close to that, Kevin.
No, you probably can. I can't think of it, but I can't think of anything. I'm trying to think of Travs.
I'm too much of a basic bitch. I have no idea.
Well, you say piss at the top of your lungs no matter what. You were just the piss master.
It is piss. Yeah,
but we've cycled
I say
Sean.
what the piss. You are just piss master.
We've cycled Sean. Which one were you going to say for yourself?
So one was the whole video thing that you already said. The other is if I get really drunk, I like to scream like a Super Saiyan. And I quote Family Guy more than anyone should.
It's true.
Those are all.
And I don't even reference it. Donnie most. But I'll just do it in casual conversation and never say that I'm referencing Family Guy. I steal it as it's my own, like Family Guy does.
I love it because
this reminds me of the time Sean. Never mind.
I love it because I've caught it multiple times, and Donnie Most is the one that really breaks me because I think I've talked about this. You guys were recording that episode and streaming it like we always do, and I was sitting on the other side of my room recording the PlayStation Wonderbook. So I'm in the middle of recording Wonderbook stuff. These monitors are turned the other way so I can see the footage of what I'm doing. And I have my PlayStation Eye camera facing over there. And I just hear Donnie Most and no one reacts to it. And I paused my recording and I was like, that is 100% Family Guy. I need Sean to know that I know that's what he's referring to, and he should feel
and no one
bad.
else got it. Everyone thought I was talking about someone completely different.
Because you said the wrong name, and we were looking at
the wrong name. And
that's so funny.
Yeah,
holy shit!
I said the wrong name, so I'm like, well, we're just rolling with it. It was so good.
That's so fucking funny.
No. So I'm reading our chat, and Mykonos fan actually did mention my Nicoism, which is being aggressively against Burger King.
That's true.
Oh yeah, you
Burger
are.
King.
I found the video of me making you eat a Whopper recently. I was gonna upload it in the Crub chat, but in the Crub public server. But I was like, well, there are people in the background that maybe not.
We need to clear that.
Yeah.
But no. So
Justin doesn't like that the
cheese on them.
Justin refuses the idea that the Whopper is cheaper by default because the cheese is extra on Big Macs by default. So they opt in instead of opting out. That's Justin's big crux here. Because you can get a Whopper with cheese, and it's still cheaper than a Big Mac.
Yeah, but it still doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
It's just really large and dry, and I don't like it.
Yo, me too!
The thing is I agree with Justin's opinion on Burger King, but the problem is that Burger King in Canada is not what it is in the US. Like, in Canada, Burger King is nothing. Burger King is a footnote in the annals of history. Like
the what of history?
In the annals, not the other one. The annals. Anyway,
not the other one.
Anyway, Burger King sucks here because it's not big here, right? Like, I mean, they bought Tim Hortons, so now like they own like actually like a big thing here. But it's all like McDonald's was always like the big fast food chain, and then you had like Wendy's, Harvey's, whatever. Burger King was always like I guess we have coupons, so sure. Like,
that's what it is here, to be fair.
That's what it is here, too, yeah.
I was told by multiple Americans. But,
you're told a lot of things.
But now, granted, I was told by multiple Americans that are Southerners that Burger King is on par with McDonald's, like, in terms of popularity.
No.
It was not in popularity, but in terms of quality, it was for a few years, like in the early 2000s.
It was very brief. It was like right when they redid their fries for the second time.
Yeah. And
because when they redid their fries for the second time, they were the best fries on the market, and they redid them again, and they're bad now.
What I do like is that they have the Impossible Whopper. Like,
it is cool that they have that,
and it's still pretty cheap. I mean, obviously now fast food's more expensive than real food, so
it'll give you the tits the size of basketballs.
The only way to get fast food burgers nowadays is to do the A&W Uber Eats hack. Well, they always have a cheddar bacon Uncle Burger combo 2-for-1. For like $18.
Would you speak to me?
But on Uber Eats, it counts as
burger
the cheddar
combo. I think that's what our former president had to do for that fitness test the one time. Those are the 5 words he had to say.
Welcome to the cheddar bacon Uncle Burger Cheeseburger 2. For the next 5 minutes, you're going to be doing push-up after push-up.
If you're getting up in arms over the cheddar bacon Uncle Burger combo, don't look up what their breakfast. Don't look up. Don't look up what their breakfast sandwiches are called. That's all I'm saying. Just don't do it.
I'm doing it.
Sean, put your phone away. Sean,
don't
put your phone away.
We're here.
This is your new.
You're not going to be able to read it.
So before this goes,
I can't read anyway.
Before this goes too off the rails, one of you hit me with one of you dunk on me because I need to be dunked on.
Ooh.
Every time you join the call, you look like you want to kill someone.
No, I was going to say, you talk about, for some reason, you just find like 2 random individuals that have no connection to whatsoever, and you come up with a conversation that involves one, like, just fisting the other somehow.
What?
Like, am I wrong?
What are you just talking about?
That's a Kevinism.
I haven't fisted. I haven't fisted in a long time.
I mean, definitely some fingers have been somewhere. I don't know about fists.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not
that's
going
not
down.
Kevin's fault.
No.
How many times, Kevin? How many people have you? Not people. You know what?
How many people?
How many people have you fisted, Kevin? Show on your hands. Is it too many to show on just your hands?
Don't use our hands.
God.
Kevin handpicks. I want Kevin handpicks.
I'll shout. I had to hide my hands now. I'll shout what Chris said in the chat. Because Chris said in the Twitch chat that my Nicoism is bringing up a new game for us to play and then being too busy to play it. That's very true. That is
very true.
What's 100%
or you just go back
true.
to Apex.
Not even really Apex anymore. I've just been busy.
Yeah, like Power World.
Power World, Halo. I wanted to play Phantasy Star with Chris, and then we never had a chance to. That's
all you
both
play
of our
is
faults,
Car Soccer and Flex.
When I'm with friends, because it's easier than doing real things.
It's not a dig. It's just an observation.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's a good one. That's probably the easiest one.
That one's probably accurate.
Oh, Risk of Rain 2 is also one.
Risk of Rain 2. Yeah. That one's tougher.
Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well.
Yes, we will do Battlefront. We'll probably do that with the server at some point if we can, because if we can get enough people involved.
We have a server?
Yeah.
We never shouted that out.
Chris did mention Risk of Rain 2. We set up mods for it and then never opened it again. That was because Risk of Rain 2 is like an hour minimum to play, so it's always like hard to invest in.
That's a commitment.
Yeah. And B, we didn't never set Justin up with those mods, so we haven't been able to do it yet.
Now,
you've even asked me.
I do want to do
or you either, Sean. That's true.
A point of order here, which is that technically I could say that that could be a Nicoism in the sense of like it's like a thing that you do. But I feel like the nature
it's
of
not
this,
roasty enough.
Well, I feel like the nature of this question isn't even so much about roasting. It's about like what weird
just something you do.
Like what weird opinions do you hold? Like horses are too big.
Weird opinion.
You know, like
that's true. We kind of did get off the point of the question.
Yeah, so this just became roasting.
I definitely have weird opinions.
Mine's still Burger King.
Like what? Like basically, what low percenter opinion do you have?
Oh God,
I have a weirdly open mind. I don't know if I have one.
Like probably me not liking the GameCube is probably the one. But
yeah, that's definitely one because.
But it's also not. It's not really a low percenter because no one bought a GameCube, so that helps.
It's true.
Like the GameCube only outsold the Wii U because the thing was $50 within a year. If the Wii U had dropped in price that low quickly, then it would have outsold the GameCube.
Well, you can reverse it and say that you liked the Vita.
God,
it's okay.
I mean, he probably does like the Vita.
Yeah. I have a Vita. I don't love it. Like I like that I hacked it and played Persona 4 and got trophies on it, but
I mean, we have half the Vita owners in the world in this call right now.
That's true. I mean, I have my PSTV over
Actually,
here.
Actually, the Crubcast is #1 with Vita owners.
That's true.
Number one Vita podcast.
Number one podcast listened to on the PS Vita.
We should start a PlayStation Vita podcast.
We should.
That'd be a good idea.
What would it be called?
I think that's against our contract.
Yeah, I don't have one.
No, if we do it on the Crub network, then it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's
we can do that. It'll be fine.
I guess
it's probably the GameCube. That's probably the one.
It's either that or the fact that you were the running back for the Vikings.
Oh, that's a long. Yeah. That was the start of. That was the start of all of the gaslighting that I've done to our friends.
Yeah, we should do that a lot.
Yeah. Because that one, so I'll tell that story briefly, and then we'll
end the podcast.
We'll hit the circle one more time, and then we'll end the podcast. In high school, my high school girlfriend at the time and I were hanging out at some point, just as people do. No fisting involved.
Boo.
And we were just kind of like doing banter back and forth, and they were trying not to sell whatever I was joking about. So I just made an increasingly stupid lie about myself until it broke them. And so it started as like, oh yeah, I was the star running back of the 2002 Houston Texans. I ran for 2,100 yards and 14 touchdowns on a broken leg. And then I just started I was like, oh, they call me insert nickname that I actually still use for personal accounts that I can't say here. And that was what broke them. And that's how my private handle came to be was me saying like, oh, I'm Slappy. They called me Slappy on the team. That was my nickname or whatever. And that was what broke them. And that's how that nickname came to be. So all of you here follow me on Instagram. You already know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Slappy's Uncle Grippy.
Oh, we should bring back Slippy's Uncle Grippy. That's my Nicoism. We should bring back Grippy.
Bring back Grippy.
It's either that or no. What about Croc for you? It wants to be Croc.
I don't want to be the Croc guy. There's already
you are the Croc guy. Oh, what about Shrek?
Oh, God, forgot about that. That is a major throwback. I feel the pain. Like I feel it right now. God,
Sean, what's your weird opinion?
Everyone knows me as a Glover guy, and the only other thing I could think of is that I don't think the Kingdom Hearts story or the Metal Gear story is all that convoluted. It's just a lot of learning that you have to do.
Well, I mean, you still need to play it.
Yeah.
How could Kingdom Hearts be complicated, Sean?
It's not complicated.
How would you know that it's not, though? That's all I'm saying.
Can you tell us the Kingdom Hearts story? Can you recite it?
Go ahead.
Sean, tell us the Kingdom Hearts lore so that way we can end this episode.
Tell us how much you know about Kingdom Hearts. Go ahead.
So